Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is Scandal Season 4, Episode 3. Love this show. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, a lot to cover, so let's go. All right. First thing we see is that goddamn Cyrus. Now I was kind of glad Cyrus kind of got out of the whole thing with the little gigolo dude and all that last week. But here we go. He done went looking for the dude. So I'm like, okay, so you're really getting ready to do this whole thing. Like, he approaching him, and the guy's like, you know, whatever. And I'm like, damn, Cyrus, you're ready to fall into the damn trap. It's like, okay, cool. And then in the interim, we see Lizzy, who basically she was being reprimanded for not following through with the whole thing with David Rosen. She couldn't stop it, and that's that. So now she's on to something different. And it's going to be Cyrus. She's going to try to take Cyrus down. So, I don't know. Cyrus is just stupid, falling into the trap with this little young boy. Ridiculous. But anyway, we end up seeing Olivia. Olivia goes to her dad's house, and she just basically goes there. She's like, you know, I was just stopping by, you know, this, that, thing, and the other. And I'm like, okay, Liv, what are you giving? But she just basically stopped by. Her father ended up taking and inviting her and Jake to come to his house for dinner. Now, she know good and well Jake ain't going for that mess, but she's like, okay, I'll talk to him and I'll see, you know, what I could get done or whatever. And he's like, you know, well, if he makes you happy, then I'm going to have to be happy. I know him and I aren't good friends or anything like that, but, you know, if he makes you happy, then this is what we need to do. Whatever. So, that was that. Liv basically did go to Jake and asked him about it. She called him. He's like, absolutely not. You know, and I'm really, Jake is bothering me. He's bothering me because he's getting way too arrogant, and I really don't like the way he treats Liv. He's treating her kind of like, chase me, bitch. You know, and she's kind of doing it. So, I don't know. I kind of understand his feelings as well, because he knows that she's in love with Fitz. He knows that. But he's kind of mean-spirited with it. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. Jake, I ain't caring for you too much at this point. That's that. Okay, so anyway, Jake is actually doing this whole thing with B613, trying to pull it on down. He found out some stuff about Charlie, and he wants to know what the involvement is with Charlie and Liv's dad and all that stuff. So he ends up stalking Charlie, finds Charlie. Get ready to go. It was hilarious. Find him, get ready to go into this candy machine, and he's fucking with the candy machine, and he rolls up at him. He's going to say, hey, Charlie, use your head, man. Grabbed that motherfucker by the back of his head and gave BAM into the candy machine. Fucked him up. So he done kidnapped Charlie. You know how he do. Took Charlie out to get him all, you know, he's going to torture him. You know, torture him to get whatever information he wants. So he gets him out there. Charlie's telling him, you know, you could cut me, and I'm never going to tell you anything. Then they end up making a deal. He would tell Jake whatever he wanted to know, but all he wanted him to do was get Quinn. Jake actually went and got Quinn, took her to this place he had, Charlie, threw her up in there and locked them in there together for the night. And it was a hot mess. Charlie's going on. He's playing mind games with Quinn, trying to. But Quinn was like, fuck you. I don't like your ass. I ain't interested in your ass. I'm nothing like you, you motherfucker. You don't have nobody that loves you. And that's what your fucking issue is. And they went to arguing a little bit, but then they stopped arguing. And he was telling her basically whatever, you know. And he broke down, told her he loved her and all that. And all this kind of carrying on. And just when they were really ready to get down, because it had been all night. He had locked him up there. Then he ended up coming back. But when he first started that shit with Quinn, she really did. She was not having it. She fucking snatched Charlie and put that motherfucker in a chokehold and choke slammed his ass and carried on. She fucked him up. But then, you know, as the time went on, she was breaking. She's going to give him a hit of the box. And that's when Jake ended up coming back. I thought that was kind of cold, though, for him to put her in there. But whatever, he did it. She was gone out there for 24 hours. But that was that. So, moving on with that damn Jake. Again, don't like how he's treating Liv at all. And every time he talks to her, he'll say shit like, you know, you're not my girlfriend. This, that, thing, and the other. And that kind of thing. And you can see her face crack every time he does it. You know what I mean? I ain't liking that. But I would never like Jake in the beginning, really, because I liked that he loved Liv, but the way they started, he was spying on her, and I thought he was going to kill her in the beginning, or try to kill her, and all that stuff. He's creepy to me. But anyway, moving on. Liv had a friend that came looking for her from college, and her daughter is actually gone missing. So Liv basically gets on the case. They find the girl, and they're like, okay, she's in this hotel. You know, little rich girl doing what she wanted to do. That's how they kind of viewed it. Later on that night, Huck actually comes, and you know how he'll sneak up in your house. Liv laying in the bed sleeping. Huck standing there talking about, Liv, I found something. Scared her to death. But he's telling her, he went through all the computers and all this shit. He found the mother was actually sleeping with the teenage girl's boyfriend. The little girl threatened to go to her dad, which was going to cut all the money and all this shit off. This is what they didn't know. When Liv found the girl, Liv told the mother, and the mother was like, oh, you don't need to come with me, Livia. This, that, and the other. I'm going to go ahead and take care of it. I'm going to go over and get her. And Liv's like, okay, cool. Well, when Jake shows her the shit and what the text messages and all this shit was on the phone, and there was actual voicemail message, there's video footage of the girl, the woman, sleeping with the little boy, too. Liv's like, oh, my God. By the time they get there, they're already at the coroner's office because the little girl has been killed. Somebody has shot her twice in the chest. She's been killed. And bam, the mother's standing there claiming the body, this, that, thing, and the other. And she's like, oh, she was already dead, this, that, and the other. Liv said, can we have some privacy? They go out in the hallway. Livia grabbed that bitch and slammed her and asked her, what did you do? This, that, thing, and the other. Either you killed her or you had someone kill her. This, that, thing, and the other. And the mother's like, no, Liv, I mean, yes, I'm dirty. I slept with a 17-year-old and it was fucking great. This, that, thing, and the other. But I would never kill her. This, that, and the other. Anyway, as it turns out, she didn't kill her. She hired a motherfucker to kill her. And there was surveillance footage that actually showed her with this envelope. And they going back and forth. And I'm sure the envelope had to do with the whole situation of what the little girl found, was going to her dad. She was going to her dad to shut the mother down. And that was that. But she got killed. So that was that. That was the case. Because you know she's always dealing with a case. That was the case she was dealing with. Over at the White House, Abby's having big problems because nobody really respects her because she hasn't proven herself. And she's running around thinking that she is Olivia Pope. And she's fucking not. Okay, so in the midst of that, Mellie has actually taken an interest in this case that's actually going on because now she wants to be a lawyer again. You know, Mellie, she ain't got shit to do, and she's coming up out of this wanting to sit in the graveyard all day. So she sits there. Mellie's over there. She got this. It was a whole case about a woman, whether or not she pushed her husband off of this cliff or did he fall. So Abby's like, well, Miss, you know, First Lady is this, that, and the other, and she's kind of like deterring her away from it because she's making these big requests. Oh, I want the park ranger and this person and that person and all this. Abby went 2 fits to tell him, listen, she's out of control. You know, this, that, and the other. You got this whole gun violence thing going on that we need to focus on, not this craziness here. He hollered at Abby and told her, get out and give her whatever she wants, you know. He don't really know what was going on. Give her whatever she wants. All that he going off with that old, you know, that old tough shit. Well, it all come down. He looks up. He has to go into this meeting. Abby said, you know, you're going to the meeting that she done pulled. When he comes in, she got motherfuckers from the FBI, from the park ranger, to the secretary of this, that, the whole fucking meeting. He comes in and he's looking and he's like, well, wait a minute, was there a cabinet meeting that I didn't know about? And Abby says it's at the top of the table and says, well, this is the meeting that I was telling you that the First Lady wanted. And now, you know, this is it. We're in the meeting. So he's sitting there like, what the fuck is she giving? So she's going through this whole thing of how she done figured out, she thinks she Olivia Pope too. How she done figured out how the man fell and didn't actually, you know, be pushed this, that, and the other. Well, the one guy, the park, I think it was the park ranger, but he's like, I hate to speak out of turn, First Lady, but all of this already happened. You're absolutely right about what you came up with, but it was all on the news this morning that they acquitted her and everything like that. He actually fell off the cliff and all that. So she was literally mortified. She was mortified. She was so embarrassed. I felt real bad for Mellie, you know what I mean? Because she thought she was really making a comeback. She thought she was really doing something, making the spotlight shine on her. Because, you know, that's Mellie. That's how she does. But she looked like a fucking idiot. So then Abby says, you know, she says, you know what? Bad timing. First thing, I have a meeting that you have to go to right now. And she got her out of there, you know, to kill all that drama, which was real cool. So later on, you actually see, and you see her looking at Fitz like, what the fuck, you know? Fitz pulls Abby into the office, gives her some good scotch, and told her he owed her an apology. He said, you know, the way that you handled my wife, he did owe her an apology. And all that. She told him, you really owe me an apology because you keep calling me Gabby, and my name is not Gabby, my name is Abby. So he sees her. He apologized. I think they're going to be cool. But then he basically told her, you know what I mean, you seen Olivia? You know, and then he's going to question her down about Olivia. This is another thing. You could see that Abby was hurting when he told her because she just had to fake and say, oh, yeah, Liv's good. You know Liv, she's okay. She don't know how Olivia is because Olivia done cussed her fucking ass out twice this episode. And basically, she's regretting now how shitty she was to Olivia. Because Olivia's not dealing with her. She just literally ain't dealing with her. You know, she's like, bitch, I ain't got you to do. Go away. Period. In the interim, good old Cyrus did fall into the trap, did sleep with the goddamn gigolo, did pay him $2,500, and now Lizzy got all that she need on Cyrus. I was pissed with Cyrus that he fucking did that. He fell into that damn trap trying to get some dick. Fucking idiot. And you should see him every time he's dealing with guys. Looking all sneaky and shit. You know, fell into the damn trap. Anyway, but the big thing that actually went on, Judge Sparks basically shot David Rosen down when they went to court about this whole gun violence thing. And, you know, the president was telling him, you know, I'm really counting on you, blah, 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 blah. It just didn't happen. He actually ended up, he was bought off by the NRA. So that's why he had shot everything down. So the president, he was like, you know, this is terrible. And he basically was really, really pissed that David couldn't deliver. So he was like, all right. So David's like, fuck it, I gotta redeem himself. He went into the files, the B613 files that he has, and found out some shit on Judge Sparks and rolled it back. So David's learning how to play with the big dogs now. He went on back to him and told me, said, what did the NRA give you? How much did they give you? How much did it cost for them to buy you off? I'm not trying to buy you off, but I do have these files and this information in this folder all about how you did a hit and run and killed a 7-year-old. It tells all about how you had your Mercedes trashed and all of that. I have all that information. Well, that whole decision ended up getting turned over. They had a big old celebration at the White House for David, you know, in the back room with the champagne and all that, and everything was good to go with David. And then David just doesn't have the motherfucking heart to do the shit that needs to be done. Because at the very end of the episode, we found out that Judge Sparks committed Harry Carey. He fucking shot himself in the head. And all of that. So, I messaged, you can see David's whole face just crack like, fuck, yeah, that was because you did it. You put that shit out there, you blackmailed him. And it was what it was. And this is what happens. He needs to man up. This is the shit that goes on. This is what goes on, motherfucker. This is it. This is the job you got. Anyway, so the best scene out of the whole goddamn thing, Jake finally decides to go on out to Daddy Pope's house for his own reasons. He wants to confront him, really. But he goes out there for dinner. Olivia actually walks off and leaves them. And he basically got to talking to him and says, why'd you do it? Why'd you have the president's son killed? And that's how you got back and said he had everything down. He had figured it all out. You gave that, you know, he gave up Olivia's mother as the culprit, which got him back in the pocket of Fitz. And now he's back being the head of command at B613. And he went to say something. He told Daddy Pope, you shut your stubborn old man mouth right now. And this, that, thing, and the other. And you need to go. He was telling him basically to go onto that island that him and Olivia was on and leave B613 alone. And he said, you know, the only bad thing is once you get on the island and all that and you disappear, Only thing bad about that plan is that I won't be able to look down on your face while you're in the coffin. Man, Daddy Pope grabbed that motherfucking butcher knife and gave in the table right in between his fingers and told him, what, you feel like a big man now? You feel a little bit taller? He said, I am command, and nobody comes up to command. He told Jake's motherfucking ass off, okay? And told him, let me tell you, don't make a mistake. Whenever you're dead and in the coffin, I will be standing over you. I said, God damn, I love that goddamn Daddy Pope. He don't fucking play. He's cold-blooded. Cold-blooded. So here we go. We are in full force. Them two going to be going at it. I'm loving this shit. And Fitz is trying to get back at motherfucking Olivia. I'm loving this shit. I hope you guys are loving this as much as I am. Hey, thumbs up or thumbs down the video. I had a wonderful time watching this tonight. Leave me comments. Tell me what you think. And I will see you guys for the next episode of Scandal next week. Bye, guys.